has been paid to Chávez Jr.'s improvement as a boxer under Freddie Roach, but does that really matter going into a fight against a guy who is clearly the superior boxer? Doesn't Chávez Jr. want to be the slugger in this fight?
Yeah, I think he wants to be the slugger in this fight. However, his skills have really improved since he's been working with Freddie. So with that being said, he wants to slug, but he may not be able to slug as much as he wants to. Therefore, he may have to depend on a few boxing skills to catch up with Martínez.
All right, one of the biggest elements of Chávez's game is his ability to gain weight between the weigh-in and when he appears in the ring 27 hours later. Let's take a look at the weight gains for him recently. 2 fights ago against Rubio, weighed in at 159.5, weighed 181 in the ring. Nearly 20 pounds when he fought Peter Manfredo. 20 pounds when he fought Sebastian Zwick. We saw from an earlier list that you did this once in your career, going up more than 20 pounds when you fought Bernard Hopkins. What does it do for you to gain that much weight overnight?
Well, what it did for me was it enabled me to be able to absorb the punches from the smaller guys much better. When I was fighting middleweight, it was almost impossible for a true middleweight to hurt me because I usually had about anywhere from 12 to 15 pounds on him. That extra weight enabled my chin to be twice as good as it would have been had we been the same size.
And in the last 2 fights, we saw Chávez Jr. against Marco Antonio Rubio and Andy Lee, both legit guys, both with a preponderance of knockout wins on their records. He was laughing at their hard stuff. Is his chin freaky?
Yeah, he walked right through him. His chin is not really freaky, though. I think that was attributed to the fact that he outweighed him so much. And the fact that these guys do not have the pop on their punches that Sergio Martínez has. So there's a lot of if and ands there, but we'll see what happens come tomorrow night.
All right, thank you, Roy Jones. You'll hear a lot from him as the show goes on. Before we continue, we invite you to join the Chávez-Martínez tweet battle by sharing your prediction for who you think will win the fight on Saturday night. Visit hbo.com/connect and tweet either Chávez wins or Martínez wins. Simple enough. We'll take a look at the results a little bit later on in the program. Now let's send it back to Max Kellerman, standing by with the man who will be in charge in Sergio Martínez's corner, Pablo Sarmiento of Spain.
Pablo, Jim, and Roy were just talking about the size difference in this fight. Your guy is a junior middleweight who couldn't get fights, so he moved up to middleweight and won the title. Chávez Jr. is a cruiserweight who trains down to middleweight, many divisions different. What does this mean for your game plan?
Bueno, seguramente también le va a pasar factura en dar las 160 libras, lo va a dar, seguro que lo va a dar, pero le tiene que pasar factura, son golpes que le da muy fuerte al cuerpo y bueno, él si sube muy pesado a nosotros van a beneficiar, vamos a sacar nuestra ventaja.
Truthfully, the weight loss that he has to do to make the weight will be to our benefit. No doubt he'll make the weight, but then also coming up in weight will also be an issue, and that'll be to our advantage.
I've never seen Sergio take a fight so personally. He seems angry, righteously indignant. Translate that one, Jerry. What did this mean for his intensity in training camp this time compared to previous fights?
Esto comparado con otras peleas que llega súper motivado por todo lo que habló Chávez, por ser un campeón que no se lo merece y toda esta cosa hacer que lo han motivado y llega súper bien a la pelea.
He's super motivated. He's super motivated because of all the things that are happening with Chávez and his titles that he doesn't really merit, but he's super motivated for this fight, super motivated.
Does he have to control his emotions in the ring or feed off his emotions in the ring? Your fighter, Sergio Martínez.
No, es un boxeador con experiencia, él ya sabe lo que tiene que hacer al real ring, está acostumbrado. La pelea anterior nos tocó contra la fiesta de los irlandeses, ahora es la independencia de México, pero está motivado, eso le hace muy bien a él.
No, he's a professional. He knows what to do. He's very motivated. In our previous fight, we fought against the Irish, and now we have here a fight against the Mexicans. He knows what to do. He's very motivated.
Thank you, Pablo. Jim?
All right, while we wait for the fighters to step on the scale, we remind you we have a jam-packed weekend schedule later tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern on HBO. Join Max Kellerman, Roy Jones, and me for the premiere of 24/7 Chávez Jr. Martínez Overtime, a 30-minute show which will put the finishing touches on 24/7 with the help of some familiar faces from the series. Saturday from 5 to 9 Eastern on HBO 2, it's Chávez Jr. Martínez Takeover. 4 straight hours of programming in which you'll get all the Julio César Chávez Jr. and Sergio Martínez information you need to be ready for their bout. And it all leads up to the highly anticipated showdown between Julio César Chávez Jr. and Sergio Martínez for the middleweight championship of the world, coming to you live tomorrow night on HBO pay-per-view. Quickly, another word with Roy Jones. We heard Pablo Sarmiento scoffing at the weight difference question yesterday. He said to media here, I hope Chávez Jr. comes into the ring at 190 pounds. What is he driving at?
What he's driving at is that he hopes that the kid puts on a lot of extra weight so that it make it more difficult for him to follow Martínez around the ring. If you're heavier, it's harder for you to move that weight around. So they're depending on his weight gain to make him a little bit slower. If it makes him slower, it helps Martínez's advantages already.
Martínez still tells reporters that he feels like he's a natural 154-pound fighter fighting at 160. Let's take a look, Roy, at the weights at which he has entered the ring unofficially since moving up to middleweight. You can see he weighed only 165 when he fought Barker, 170 for Zinzirek, but back down 168, 167. Obviously, he could choose to put on more weight overnight and enter the ring at a heavier number against Chávez Jr. to combat all that extra weight. Probably wouldn't help him, would it?
No, it wouldn't help him at all because his main advantage, or one of his main advantages, is his speed. And he wants to keep that advantage. In order to keep that advantage, he must stay where he's been staying, around 10 pounds at the most, over the 160-pound limit.
We're comfortable with time here, and I'm thinking of some instances in the past where smaller fighters took on much larger guys. I covered Michael Spinks against Jerry Cooney, and much more recently, I covered you against John Ruiz. Is it conceivable that we're looking a little bit lower down the weight scale at a replay of Jones versus Ruiz tomorrow night?
This is very conceivable because the first thing is he has to go out and slow Chávez down. Hit him with a good shot to show Chávez that truly I'm a smaller guy who should be fighting junior middleweight, but I can't hurt you. You better be careful what you do. Second, you got a guy in Julio César Chávez who probably has a little bit stronger mind than John Ruiz had, but at the same time, he has a lot that he has to deal with the speed and power of a Martínez.
Logic tells you that at some point in the fight, Martínez must get Chávez Jr.'s respect. How does that happen? What does he have to do to make it happen?
You got to come out there right away and pop him with something big that make his knees or make his legs feel a little funny. When you do that to him, you make a real statement. John Ruiz never suspected that Roy Jones Jr. had the power to make his knees buckle.
But you heard him in the early rounds, and that made the difference. All right, we're told the fighters are ready to go. Let's go to ring announcer Michael Buffer for the official festivities here.
Ladies and gentlemen, damas y caballeros, bienvenidos. Welcome to the official weigh-in for the fight of the year that will be happening tomorrow night here in Las Vegas at the Thomas & Mack Center, the sold-out Thomas & Mack Center by way of Wynn Las Vegas. Top Rank Boxing and DeBella Entertainment will be presenting this main event. This is the official weigh-in, and let's get things started. Stepping on to the scales at this time, he is recognized as pound for pound, one of the best fighters in the world today. And he is recognized as the linear and true middleweight champion of the world, damas y caballeros de Argentina. 49 victories, 28 knockouts. He is Sergio Maravilla Martínez. Martínez to the scale. The weigh-in will be conducted by Keith Kaiser, Executive Director of the Nevada State Athletic Commission. Stepping onto the scale, the linear middleweight world champion, Sergio Maravilla Martínez. 159 pounds. And now, ladies and gentlemen, stepping on to the scales, representing Mexico, 46 victories, 32 knockouts, the reigning and defending undefeated WBC middleweight champion of the world, Julio César Chávez Jr. 158.
As the two fighters get ready for the stare down, Roy Jones, do you make anything of the fact that Julio César Chávez Jr., who has struggled so mightily to make 160 in recent fights, weighed in at 158?
The only thing you can make of that fact is that he may have taken this fight a little more serious than people think he has.
Watching the body language of Sergio Martínez from start to finish, Roy, I feel like I'm looking at a guy who's waited a long time for this and doesn't want any of it to pass by without him feeling all of it.
A very smart guy in that aspect of it, who waited a long time to get his shot. Now he got his shot, and he wants to savor the moment. That is a very smart thing.
And as Martínez yaps away at Julio César Chávez during what amounted to their stare down, Martínez's Mexican manager, Fernando Beltran, ultimately stepped in and saw to it that they separated.
Yeah, he did the right thing. You don't want anybody to swap licks or to take a shot at somebody here at the weigh-in. But with the crowd being there, them being so amped about the fight, anything can happen.
Roy, there were elements of 24/7 that caused people to wonder how committed to conditioning Chávez was, but the indication would here would seem to be that he, in fact, was doing the work.
Maybe he took this fight a little bit more serious than people think he did. He's been preparing for this fight, as he told us, for 6 months now. So there's no way that he could come in about to fight the best middleweight probably of his time and on his record for sure, and not be properly prepared for it.
Is it possible that Martínez is overconfident? He looks so comfortable with what he's doing here.
No, I don't think he's overconfident. What is possible is that his confidence could come back to hurt him, meaning that he's so willing to go in and make it happen that he could get caught up in the fight emotionally and allow Chávez to fight more of the fight that Chávez wants to fight.
Which body relaxes more easily for the big event in your view? 26 years old and with a lot less to lose, underdog for the first time in his career, or 37 years old and has seen things that 26 years old hasn't even thought of yet?
26-year-old relaxes more in this case, and I'm going to tell you why, Jim. In this case, Martínez feels like I felt when I fought Montel Griffin the second time.